from the station you count on. In-depth, investigative coverage of today's biggest stories. This is KARK 4 News at 10 in high definition.
The election year now officially underway as Arkansans watch Iowans go to the caucuses for the first vote leading up to November. The results could determine who gets momentum and who drops by the wayside. Good evening and thanks for choosing KARK 4 News tonight. I'm Jessica Dean. Bob Clausen has the night off. We're going to get back to the caucuses in just a moment. But first, we begin this evening with 2 homicides in Little Rock. Police investing them both right now, and they happened just hours ago. First, Little Rock police say they responded to a shots fired call in the 1500 block of Green Mountain Road. When they arrived there, they found a man in his 20s shot to death and another woman also in her 20s shot as well. As we speak, she is fighting for her life at a hospital, and that is according to Little Rock police.
According to witnesses, there was 2 individuals that came to the apartment and did the shooting, so we are working to identify them.
If you have information that could help police arrest the people responsible, you're asked to call them. Also developing at this hour, police on the scene of a second shooting, this one in the 3500 block of John Barrow Road. KARK is told about an hour ago, police responded to a shots fired call there. When they arrived, they found a person shot to death. The information minimal right now as police continue to investigate. We'll, of course, have the latest tomorrow morning on KARK for today. And as police work these crimes, it underscores new FBI numbers out today showing violent crime on the rise in Little Rock despite a drop in the national average. In fact, in 2010, there were 28 murders in the capital city. Compare that to 37 murders in 2011. And now we've got 2 in 2012, and we're only 3 days into the new year. Little Rock Police Chief Stuart Thomas says he's concerned about that increasing crime, but the report doesn't tell the whole story, he says. FBI reports dating back to 1990 show crime has fallen considerably in Little Rock. Thomas says the crime rates reported last year hit a 30-year low. And now to the big story nationwide tonight, Iowa, as residents in the Hawkeye State are caucusing. Here's a breakdown of how the votes look so far. We've got 88% reporting Mitt Romney in at 25%, Rick Santorum at 25%, Ron Paul 21%, Newt Gingrich 13%, Rick Perry 10%, Michelle Bachmann 5%, and John Huntsman 1%. And many of us asked this question during the process today. What exactly is a caucus? Well, Republicans and Democrats caucus differently in Iowa, but tonight an in-depth look at how Republicans go about this process. First, people show up to their caucus sites. They have to be a registered Republican or pledge to be one at the door. Second, they listen up. Representatives with the Republican candidates then pitch their candidates to the voters. And third, mark it up. Caucus goers vote for whom they think is best. And last, count it up. The votes are tallied and a winner declared. Just think of it as a high-powered poll because Iowa Republican National Committee delegates aren't necessarily bound to those caucus results. And we're going to bring in Republican strategist Bill Vickery now to kind of walk us through what we're seeing, if you can, because as of about 3 minutes ago, 45 votes separate Rick Santorum and Mitt Romney.
Well, if we can take a step back and look at the Iowa caucuses in terms of the broader Republican primary, sort of by party rule, they're always held first. And so at some point in time, I think we're going to see the Iowa caucuses held at 12:01 a.m. on New Year's Day because we keep bumping them back further and further. The big winner tonight, though, is Mitt Romney in the grand scheme of things. He spent very little time, spent a chunk of money, but spent very little time in Iowa. He's able to either secure the top spot or split the top spot with Rick Santorum. That bodes well for him as he moves into New Hampshire. Then he has a good organization in South Carolina. Then he cleans up in Florida. And people forget the rules have changed for the Republican primary this year. Delegates are apportioned once you get beyond Iowa to the winner based on the percentage that he gets. That really now plays in Romney's favor in a big way by performing well in Iowa. He can clean up and have the whole thing wrapped up before we play the national championship basketball game.
Well, that's what I was going to ask you because of the money, I mean, sheer dollars. Rick Santorum coming in tonight with what everyone would say is a surprising second or first place, but he doesn't have that money and the organization.
Yeah, Rick Santorum spent every day in Iowa. He gambled everything in Iowa. There are some people that say that Santorum was sort of the anti-Romney flavor that ended up at the end. It was Bachmann, then it was Perry, then it was Kaine, then it was Gingrich, and now it's ultimately fell to Rick Santorum. But he really ran a retail-oriented campaign. He may have met every person that voted in the caucuses tonight. The problem for Rick Santorum is he has nothing after tonight. He has to take this and create some momentum for it. Awfully difficult to do. Bigger win for Romney than a win for Santorum tonight.
And you know, we have to, I think a lot of people say, well, what does this mean for Arkansans? And it's a fair question. Why do the Iowans get to judge? But the person that wins tonight, not necessarily going to be the candidate, but it can reflect, it causes maybe waves.
If you think about it, both on the Democrat and Republican side, we have this unique group of states that jump ahead. Iowa in a caucus, then on to New Hampshire, and then to South Carolina and Florida. It's a really broad cross-section of the different parts of the United States, totally different value sets in the different states.
That's right.
And a candidate has to be really battle-tested to make it through to that point. So it'll be interesting to see.
We got many months to go.
Yes,
All
we do.
right, thanks, Bill Vickery. We appreciate it. Well, now on to a KARK 4 News update. A nursing home patient who spoke out to us about his treatment in a Lone Oak facility has now been shipped out of state. This after other nursing homes refused to care for him. KARK 4's Brittany Johnson investigates why his mother says he's being pushed out for speaking out.
I feel very hurt. I feel very let down. I feel like someone dropped the ball. Someone didn't care.
Words of frustration from the mother of nursing home patient Larry Bell. A car accident turned the once athletic father into a quadriplegic. A year in Golden Years Manor nursing home turned him into an advocate for residents' rights.
In my case, if my bladder is not drained, then it could blow up.
Bell aired his grievances with KARK in 2011. We uncovered state documents showing the facility had been cited for violating standards of care. While Bell said some things improved after the story, when he found himself in the hospital months later, his mother says things turned for the worse.
It's as if he's been blackballed in the state of Arkansas.
For months, UAMS social workers tried to place Bell at another facility.
Little Rock area, Pine Bluff area, we've called Mariana, Whitehall.
No one would take him. But why can nursing homes that depend on taxpayer dollars have the right to deny state patients? We asked the Department of Human Services.
In receiving taxpayer funds, facilities have to meet state and federal regulations in caring for patients. But facilities only have to accept residents that they can provide the proper and necessary care for.
That means they can refuse service despite the need. Bell lived at UAMS for 4 months until Friday, December 30th, when he was sent to Louisiana. His mother, also his guardian, says she did not authorize the move.
I felt like he was just a piece of meat that they had control over.
And now that her son's health appears to be declining, it's her turn to pick up the gloves.
I just want him to stay alive. If he could focus on that, then I'll fight the battles.
We're working with UAMS to determine whether the hospital needed consent to transfer Bell out of state. We will continue to follow this story tomorrow. Brittany Johnson, KARK 4 News.
Now from KARK.